parents of Chelsea King went before reporters today as more details emerged on the law that would bear Chelsea's name. KUSI's Ed Lenderman is live in Mission Valley with those details. Ed?
Good evening. Well, we are in the middle of a fundraiser here at the Scottish Rite Center for the families of Chelsea King and Amber Dubois. It began at 4 o'clock. It goes till 7. Feel free to come on down, whatever you've got to donate. Show your support for these two grieving families. Lots of folks have already been by here. Now, earlier today, Kelly and Brent King showed their support for what local Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher is trying to put together. It was 27 days ago that Chelsea King went for a run at a public park. Today, a wonderful portrait of Chelsea was at the forefront of a news conference outside the offices of 75th District Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher. 2 weeks ago, Fletcher, in announcing Kelly and Brent King's support for Chelsea's law, outlined the changes he says need to be made to protect children from violent sexual predators. The Kings were personally on hand today.
If our laws were smarter and bolder, Chelsea might still be here. If there was greater accountability for enforcement of existing laws, Chelsea might still be here.
Kelly King says her promise to her daughter to always protect her now includes a new promise.
I promise to do all I can to protect other daughters and other mothers from this incomprehensible nightmare I'm walking through. I can't do this alone.
Fletcher says the focus of the needed changes have narrowed to sentencing, parole reform, and GPS monitoring. Sentencing.
We're looking at all of the laws on the books as it relates to first strike, one strike. I don't believe you can rehabilitate a sexually violent predator, so we're saying how do we focus our resources and attention on those folks for either a lifetime parole, life without sentences, or lifetime sentence without parole. We're taking a hard look at that.
Parole reform is an issue because the man accused of killing King violated his parole at least 7 times, but remained free. GPS monitoring.
Jessica's law put in place provisions for a lifetime GPS monitoring. But the problem is once you go off parole, there's no entity charged with enforcing that. So how do we fix that?
Jessica's law also restricts where a sex offender lives in relation to a school or park. But that doesn't mean the offender can't visit a park, says Fletcher. He wants anti-loitering tied to GPS tracking. Now, critics have questioned whether the state has the money for a vastly increased scrutiny of violent sexual predators. It's not a question of money, counters Fletcher. It's a question of commitment.
Last year, the state spent $45 million on furniture, new cars, and conventions for state workers. I think this is a higher priority.
Now, Fletcher says he hopes to have something to introduce to the legislature by early April. He's also planning to get input from the community. A week from today, March 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Maranatha Chapel in Rancho Bernardo, a public forum on Chelsea's law. Again, that's Tuesday, March 30th. At Maranatha Chapel in Rancho Bernardo. Now, as for this fundraiser, take a look. We've got folks out here collecting money. We've got entertainment, some very fine folks from Nashville up here performing. There's a card over here that you can sign. Please feel free to come on down. This is much about showing support for these families as it is financial contributions. And we're going to have more on all of this coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you guys in the studio. Sasha?
And it looks like they're anticipating a big turnout. Now, Nathan Fletcher is talking about parole reform and GPS tracking. The trickier part, perhaps, is enacting a one-strike measure, but he does think that's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, he's talking about one strike, and, you know, there are a lot of issues that go with that one-strike law. I mean, how are you going to define what crimes are going to qualify for that one strike? And how does our already terribly overcrowded state prison system accommodate more lifer prisoners? Issues, says Fletcher, still to be worked out, and he says they will be.
All right, some very important issues there. Thank you, Ed. We'll check in with you later.